Hey guys, I just got an instant message. That's why I paused for so long. I was just looking at the website Patreon, which is an alternative to Patreon, and it's full of uh, literal, I wouldn't say literal Nazis, but literal uh, fans of the white race and fans of not liking other people. My thesis today is that it sucks because it sucks that platforms like Patreon have to exist because far left ideologues have made free speech a taboo thing, and I am forced to be on the side of people who don't care for me, who don't like me based on my ethnicity. And then on the other side are people who would reject me because of my personality, because I'm, I like offensive jokes and I like fun. So it sucks, the current political climate. Oh, this was going to be 5 seconds. But I also wanted to make a point yesterday while I was driving, and I didn't make the point because I was driving, because it's wrong to make points and drive. The thing that bothers me about punching Nazis is in the whole anti-fascist thing. I'm glad that it seems to be winding down a bit, but I also worry that it's ingrained in our culture now. I would compare it to how I get when I don't have enough money to confidently get to the next month. When I don't have enough money, when I don't have regular income, I become more greedy, I become less friendly, and uh, if they're like the potluck that I went to yesterday made me think about that. If there's something like that, I don't want to help out at all because I'm so worried. And in doing so, um, my priorities when I don't have enough income are to keep whatever I can, take care of myself, and forget everybody else, and be very anxious anytime an issue of splitting money comes up. I want to count everything down to the penny and all that. Uh, I say too much. I'm going to work on that, guys. It's one of my promises to you, my viewers. And so even I'm protecting these behaviors are instincts to protect myself from the consequence of losing what I have. But the behaviors themselves become an unfavorable consequence that is harmful to myself and harmful to relationships. Similarly, the anti-fascist, anti-racist, anti-sexist stuff in its foolish, misguided efforts to stop thoughts from ever manifesting, to stop ideas from being expressed, to stop people from, well, I don't really think they say what their end game is, but I think the end game of any of these anti-fascist movements is to get to the point where they can kill people without being punished for it, because you cannot punch people into submission. You have to kill them. So that's really what worries me when people talk about uh, getting rid of Nazis, which is a stupid term for a time in history that is not happening today. What's happening today is something else. And for the first time, I am kind of worried about neo-Nazis. And it's not because of the neo-Nazis themselves, it's because of the far left ideologues and how they have created a vacuum. They have created a rallying point. They have galvanized groups of I don't know what kind of ideologues they are, but they're not far left ideologues. They are anti far left ideologue, and they rally around their national or racial pride because they've been galvanized by the people who think that crushing free speech works, who thinks that you can punch free speech into submission, who think that you can destroy racism by destroying thoughts before they can even be understood, articulated, or managed. That allows racism to become a tangible thing. That allows racism to become more than just a bias that you have and that you work with and you confront. It allows it to become fear and hatred. It allows that hatred to be nurtured instead of confronted and dealt with. It shows a complete lack of faith in humanity of people. It dehumanizes people when you treat them like they're a virus to be exterminated. And that's when those sides start to kind of cross over, because they want the racists and the anti-racist people both want to dehumanize each other, or they want to dehumanize different classes and get rid of them. And what scares me is that the anti-racists really give the other side a platform to stand upon in all their efforts to silence it. So I'm very much in favor of everybody being platformed so that they won't grow in this twisted, weird way. And you could see the twisted, weird way that people grow on Twitter, where they have these. And totalitarian might be a bit much of a stretch to use, since they're not. Well, let's just use it. Twitter is a sort of totalitarian organization, and the way that people act on that organization, the way they fight, is manipulative and dishonest, disingenuous. Everybody's trying to say enough not to get banned. They'll say the worst, ugliest things to each other, but as long as they don't fit the toxic, bad, rule-breaking side. And this is what it all comes down to, because they're so indoctrinated into social media that they don't realize their whole personalities are based around not breaking the terms of service, and that extends to their politics and every other aspect of their lives. It's pathetic. I hate those people who give you shit, sorry for swearing, who give you crap when you reply to something that's a day old. I just saw that. I replied to stuff that was months old. I don't pay attention to dates online because it doesn't really matter. But if you're a Twitter power user and you see somebody replying to something that's hours or a day or months, even especially years old, oh my gosh, they mock you so much. And oh god, that annoys me. Anyway, so that was a really, 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 really long-winded point to say, similar to how greedy and miserable and possessive I get when I don't have enough resources, or when most people don't have enough resources and don't have a stable structure to get by. It's kind of like the worst case scenario is realized by that desperation. Similarly, the people who are anti-racist, anti-sexist, anti-bigotry, and who the way they deal with it, the way they face issues that they're not comfortable with, it realizes the worst possible scenario of totalitarianism, violence, and bigotry. And I would say there's a scale. Bigotry is the start of something bad, but it doesn't have to be bad. But they skip bigotry and go straight to the violence. Or they skip, I think they're still bigots, but they skip the popular version of bigotry and they go straight to violence, totalitarianism, and control. So that's really my only point, I suppose. When you're fighting for what's right, watch what you're doing, because there's a really good chance that you are already manifesting the worst possible situation, and on top of that you're creating an avalanche for the people who disagree with you, and it's about to come falling down on you. So that's my story. Bye.